What's up, everybody? Brandon here, and I wanted to share something with you because I had an experience last night at the poker table that got me thinking that there's probably a lot of folks out there right now who are struggling with getting to that next level in their poker game. And this is one thing that I was able to implement just last night that I was just messing around with at a 1-2 game. And typically I play a little bit higher than that, but I wanted to just kind of have some fun and have a couple of drinks and just kind of enjoy myself last night. And so it put me into a spot where I kind of realized that no matter what level you're at, you have a lot of the same scenarios that you come and play with. So just something to take into consideration for future sessions that you may partake in is that as long as you look to play the hand in the most optimal way, and you can actually maximize everything that your profits, you're gonna be able to do well no matter what level you're playing at. So today I wanted to ask you guys, what would you do? Those of you who are new to playing poker for a living or that are looking to make that transition, you have to make big decisions at the table. There are decisions every single hand that are gonna have an impact on future hands. Now, I'm not saying to take that information and live in the past and let those past hands, kind of dictate, as you would say, everything that you would do. But it's going to have a big implication on how people view you, how you have to respond, and you have to kind of use the metagame on what you believe they're thinking, and then how you can perceive their thoughts to how you can counter what they're going to do to, all that kind of level over level thinking. And that's the fun part about the game, but it happens at even the low levels of 1-2. And those are beginning stages levels for people who are either hobby players, people just playing for fun, or things like that. And that's where I started out, was at 1-2. And I actually grinded that level for a lot longer than I would have liked. But I did what I had to do. And so, and plus I was always one of those people, I don't know if you can relate to this, but I was one of those people who wanted to build my bankroll up substantial enough to where I could feel comfortable moving up to the next level. And for me, I had a lot of downswings and a lot of things that I was doing wrong. And I was learning at my own pace, as I guess you could say, because I didn't have a mentor. I wasn't looking for a coach. I didn't see the value in any of that. And so now when I started to actually get around people who were teaching me new things, it got me inspired to share with those who are maybe, new as well. So if you're watching this video, understand that the reason why you're here today is to answer one question about what would you do? Me, or you being new to the game, or you being at the 1-2 level. I was in an experience last night with a gentleman at the table who had about $900. Now, I drew this up for you guys so you can kind of see exactly what happened. And so I had about $280 in front of me last night when this situation arose. And I was in for about $420, I think, for the night so far. So I was down a little bit. I was down about $140 at this moment. And the gentleman I was in the hand with had almost $1,000. He had a little over $900. And I get dealt ace queen of diamonds in early position. Okay, I'm under the gun +2, and it gets limped to me. Now at 1-2, you'll realize and you'll notice that a lot of people, they limp call. So they'll actually limp for $2 and then end up putting in another 20. And what I encourage people to do, and what I do myself, is to find their folding point. So raise it up every time that you're going to go ahead and put in that 3-bet. That first raise. Every time you're going to put in that first raise, make sure to test your limits. So if people you see are calling heavily when you make it, say, $12, make it 15 next time. And then if you still get a bunch of callers, make it 17 or 18. Then if you get still a few more callers, test it and see if they'll call 20. Because a lot of these people are calling so light that it's very profitable for you to go ahead and make it a little bit heavier on the pre-flop side, because they're going to be calling so light with just flops with hands that do not flop well. So over the long run, you're going to be making a lot of money with those kind of plays. And you just want to see what their folding points are, because when you do get to see a showdown and you see that they called $20 pre-flop with, like 7-9 suited or something like that out of position, then you know that you are in good shape, because these people, they're not creative enough. A lot of them, the majority of them, aren't creative enough to play post-flop in a way that you could be dangerous or that you'd be scared. You know what I mean? So pretty much what they have. They love to play their cards face up without actually playing face up. So mind you that I get dealt ace queen in this situation. Now I've been playing for about 4 hours, played for about 4.5 hours the whole night. So I think this is about halfway through, so about 2 hours into the session. I'm pretty confident that I know how this man plays. He's very tight, and he does not like to pay people off. So those kind of folks, you kind of want to, how do I say, you got to be careful with how you bet, because it's a lot of everything that they do. They think that, okay, well, there's no way that this man could raise me unless he had me beat. And typically they have the best. Typically they have the best of it. I didn't see him really playing with anything less than jacks. So with that being said, over a 2-hour span, I saw him flip over kings, I think 3 or 4 times, jacks twice, and aces once. So when I get to the hand with him and it gets limped to me, I get ace queen of diamonds. I go ahead and I pump it up to 12, which was basically my standard raise. I was still kind of getting used to where their folding points were, but I think 12 was a solid number because a lot of those folks were actually folding to $12 bets. And so I figured that they'd have to have a nice premium hand, or at least something that they would want to play with, a playable hand, instead of that junk that could just catch you off guard, you know? And so I saw him dumping a lot of ace rags, so I knew that nobody would really be in there with an ace that was, you know, except for maybe ace king or something like that, that would raise me though. So I was able to play this hand pretty upfront and knowing, you know, I should say perfectly. So when it comes to the villain, who is on the button, who I don't ever want to see raise, ever, okay? He doesn't, he just flats my 12. And then so that leaves this person and this person, the 2 limpers, to go ahead and come into the pot as well. So we're going 4-way to the flop. And so you mind you, there's what, 12, 24, 48, there's about $51 in the pot right now. And they take the race. There's about 48 bucks in the pot right now, $47 in the pot. And flop comes out. Queen, 10, 4. Now, there is 1 diamond, so that's good for me. There's 1 diamond, but it comes out queen, 10, 4. So I lead out about 2/3 size pot, and he just calls. Pretty tricky, right? Pretty tricky. So I'm still kind of confident in my hand. I'm thinking, okay, well, he would probably do this with jacks. He'd probably do this with 10s. Ace queen I have, so we might be splitting it. King queen he's definitely calling. A set he'd be raising, 2 pair he'd be raising. So, and I don't really see him calling, or you know, I don't really see him calling the $12 raise pre-flop with queen 10 or 10-4 or queen 4. So it leaves pretty much 1 pair hands. And so when you look at the turn, because he just calls, of course, you know, so there's about, I think there's about $100 and something in the pot right now. And like 110, I think, something like that. And so the turn comes, and the turn is a meaningless 7. So now mind you, there's no diamond, no nothing. So I don't pick up a flush draw. It's very difficult for me to stick with this, or it's very difficult for me to see that I'm beat. Okay, it's a 7. It's a 7. It's a 7. What does it do for me? I mean, anybody, I don't see it. And so I lead out again. I lead out, but I lead out at like a value size bet. Okay, so I lead out about 40 or 50 bucks. And he then puts me all in. So it's another, I think, another 100 what, I started with 280, mind you, another 160 bucks, $170 for me to call. Something like that. Now what do you do? What do you do? You know what I mean? Like, I was stuck. I tanked for about 2 minutes, and then I just kept looking at him. I was like, okay, well, what kind of hands could he have? And this is where the decision comes in, folks. This is where if you want to move up in levels, this is what's going to separate you. Right here is going to be able to make these decisions that are going to be able to say, okay, well, what does he want me to do? What does my opponent want me to do? If he wants me to call, I should fold, right? If he wants me to fold, I should call or I should raise. So I was stuck. I was thinking, okay, well, how could this 7 have hurt me or helped him? And why was he put me all in for another 170 when I haven't seen him do anything aggressive like that unless he had the nuts, unless he had it. And so what I found out was after I tanked for about 2.5 minutes, I could not find one hand that I could beat of his in his range that would allow him to do that. And some people might say, okay, well, you know, it's only 1-2, it's only 160, you know, you got to call to see. There's no way that, you know, it was so weird, you know, and I didn't think that he was the kind of guy to raise that kind of way on a stone cold bluff. But then again, why would you raise that big on for value? So that's kind of what froze my action for a second. I was thinking, okay, well, why would this guy do this? And then it came to realization that I just had to put him on kings. Put him on aces or kings, just that overpay. I was like, you know what? He's been playing me. He gambled pre-flop and allowed the other 2 limpers to get into our pot. But he knew that on any no ace board, that he was going to go ahead and feel comfortable moving forward. Well, the board came out perfect for him. Rainbow, queen 10-4, are you kidding me? And then the 7, the perfect 7. So he knew where I was at, I knew where he was at, but it was a great fold because a lot of people are going to lose their stacks right there at 1-2 because they're just going to think, okay, well, I got it. I know I got it. I'll pay him off if he's got aces or kings. It's very rare, very hard to get that. That kind of mentality, if you aren't willing to make big laydowns, it's going to be impossible for you to move up to that next level. That's the meaning of today, is to be able to know that, okay, I got to be confident in myself. The only reason why I know he had kings was because he showed me. He showed me, and that's why I can make this for you today confidently, knowing that I made a great laydown, was because that exact same thing, when you show them the ace queen, and I showed my ace queen face up, I was that confident. That's, I think, what got him to show his kings, because he usually at that kind of level, they're gonna kind of like be like amazed, and they're like, wow, that's crazy, how did you do that? At higher levels, they're never gonna give you that. They're never going to show you their hand to prove that what you did was just right. All that did was heighten my confidence, and it gave me the ability to understand that I knew where he was at most of the time in a lot of the hands. So it's easy to play kind of face up against him and play perfect poker. So he did me justice by doing that, and I don't know if he realized that, but it was awesome to be a part of. I wanted to just share that moment with you right now, and I want to ask you, what would you have done? What would you have done? Let me know. Let me know. I would love to hear about this, because I know this is a big problem for a lot of newbies in the game, and I would love to hear how we could help these guys get to that next level. So I encourage you to leave some comments, email me back, get a hold of me. If you haven't already, subscribe to the YouTube channel, because, man, we're about to come out with some amazing new things to take your game to that next level. So enjoy your day, guys, and I'll see you on the next video. Take care.